I'm thinking about this washerwoman's full story. It's number 8. Trying to make some sentences. At the end of it, sounds like the beginning of putting up the painting of you, Cassie, into a frame in a palace, which is one of the pictures that we looked at before. And I'm wondering, what is the image that we're looking at before? Because that's the end of the story, and there's quite a lot of text before. And I'm just trying to... Yes. As it is, I'm sort of... we'll wait till Nina arrives, because I know that we've sort of talked about this.
I'm here.
Hi, Nina. We've got the text, which this is sort of the end point of this thing that we're looking at now. But actually, because we're creating this other more drawn world, I'm wondering if we create something that has this idea, but in a more drawn world.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But there's also a bit of an issue. So there's two different things. One is the style of it, and I was trying to tie that up together.
Yeah.
And the other is I was trying to think about the words and the image and what works right. I find it so odd not seeing people. Partly because this sort of setup is almost like, in terms of the description, this is the end of it. And that is coming out of the floor with the painting and maybe putting it up within one of these frames. But just because that's the text of that being the end doesn't mean visually, we don't have to show and tell at exactly the same time, obviously. But I'm wondering how that whether it works to see the image happening while we haven't got to that bit in the story. Does that make sense?
I wonder. Let me have a think about that. So this is towards the end, is it?
Yeah. So at the moment, this is number 8.
Yeah.
And after it, depending on, we have no idea about timings. There's possibly a yam story. And then there's the last bit, which is the grief crow, which is the bit that we might put the green hood on me and see if we can do that crow image. And see if that works. But this one is number 8, and this is it's a continuation of what the story was that we saw Caroline drawing behind Cassie, which is the outline of the city with the washerwoman. So it's almost like we might start and go back to that image. Maybe if we read it out, we could try and work out how we move from one to another to see whether we do want to end up with something like this, but a drawn version of it. And if we do, how do we make that work?
Hello. Sounds good.
Hi, Day. Hiya.
Hello. I'm all right. How you guys have a good lunch?
Yes, great, thank you. And we're only just sort of coming back today.
Okay.
We jumped ahead a bit. Sorry, you go.
The flooring would look quite good in that text thing you're talking about, the overlay. Because I heard you say something about getting this scene in the drawn version.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's two separate things. One is how do we join up the styles? Like what will we do with this visually to put this in the world that we've now started going into, which is a more drawn or sort of storybook world. That's one. But also, is it the right thing? Because if I can make myself go back, it's something to do with in terms of thinking about how we staging this and visually what we want. This is sort of the end image. It's sort of at the end. She talks about the having the picture and then thinking about putting it up. So I'm trying to think in terms of directing it, in terms of if you don't want all of the text and then to see the images at the end, because then we're in a static mode and then seeing it.
Yeah.
But what would it be like to see it happening and not quite knowing visually what's happening, but the story then to catch up with it? Because we don't want it to happen exactly at the same time, because otherwise you get into like a show and tell thing exactly the same and it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's an interesting conundrum, isn't it? I mean, I think there's always a curiosity and an interest in an image taking shape before our eyes, and I think it could also have very many different suggestions, especially with something like a geometric image like this. It could be lots of things before it becomes what it actually eventually is, which might be interesting. Yeah, I wonder.
The positioning of this scene is quite good, though. If we're saying this is like
Yeah.
the final scene for our sort of trip is ending, then maybe because we played around with this Cassie emerging from the ground thing, maybe we can sort of make this picture match up with the forest, so that like the place where we gather around for Cassie's entry point is also where the fire is positioned, so that somehow there's like a portal or something, maybe to help us back to the forest, or because we were trying to figure out how to get the painting into this scene, right, as well.
Yeah. So are you thinking that the painting that's in? I'm just sort of trying to catch up with the storytelling here, in my mind. Having a little read of it.
Cassie, maybe you could read out this section and we could all have a listen and see
great.
whether we think, like when we're hearing it, whether we imagine that we stay within that drawing world that we'd seen earlier, which was the setup to the city in the background thing. If we see that as the starting point to this next section, and see if we imagine moving from there or things being added to that, or is it a different setup? So if we have a listen to it and see what we feel, that might be helpful.
In a place far from here. This night, however, is different. As she touched the muck of every domestic, every farmer, every merchant, every nobility, and the king himself, a righteous resentment rose within her. With every scrub, she was becoming more and more miffed. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Wait, what was that? A flicker? A quiver of something? She stopped, scared still, staring into the thickness of the night. Nothing but the warmth of the fire waving back at her. I'm terribly tired, she resigned. It was probably nothing, but nothing living would ever venture this deep into the forest. Flutter. There it was again. A shadowy flash of something, big and dark. And then she saw it. A light on the branch directly above her. Inky wild black wings serenading the cold, dark air. Sorrow engulfing her. It released one single lofty and deafening shrill, rousing and resonating with the anger deep within her. And as it spoke, the rolled epistle tumbled from its powerful beat. What unluck, thought the washerwoman, who had never been plagued by grief before. All she wanted to do was the job she was meant to do, wash the city's laundry. But before she could stop herself, with a meditative wretchedness, she stretched out her wet, sodden hands to pick the letter up. Unroll, unroll. At this, the giant beast began to dance with splendid excitement. Unroll, unroll, unravel. The washerwoman could scarcely believe her eyes. There she was, the portrait of an ancient queen, majestic and magnificent, deep dark eyes staring back at her, wonderful, vicious, formidable. Then, with the flash of a second loud and triumphant squawk, the washerwoman knew instantaneously what she was meant to do and where this portrait belonged.
Fab.
I've got a couple of thoughts here in it, and I don't quite know if this is right, but there are some things which I think we could nip out in terms of the text and just see it. So when you say things like something caught the edge of her eye, if you could just look and we could see a flutter.
Yeah.
So we don't have to say all of the things.
Yeah.
And I also wondered about if you actually become her rather than she, as I touched. The word muck doesn't quite work. I couldn't hear it very well. I think you're probably going to have to use the word dirt or something that's got a clearer thing, if that's okay. As she touched the dirt of every domestic, every farmer, every merchant. So you'd say, as I touched there. So I think you become her in this one.
Okay.
I don't know what anyone. Do you think that's all right today?
Cassie, I was going to say, do you think there's some bits you could
I think it's
make
really
it a bit
long.
more succinct? Yeah, could you cut it down a bit?
I can definitely cut a lot of it out.
Yeah. I like the parts where you have that repetition thing, like unroll, unroll, unravel. I think those give opportunities for things to happen as well. But I think you said you wanted to nip it in a bit anyway. So if you can get it to maybe half the length.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
so are you thinking about how we get from city to corridor effectively?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not that it's not a dissimilar sort of architectural setup. If you were to imagine the city being sort of in a valley, it could have the sort of the tall buildings. If you look at the verticals within the image, you've got kind of tall buildings on either side that could be where the portraits and doors are, that could sort of be silhouettes, but then they could gather detail and you could start to see sort of frames. And so it could start as a city and then become something a bit more like this. If you think about the long avenues that you have in very large cities.
Yeah.
To city.
Depending on the perspective that we choose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nina, that sounds great. I have no idea how you would do that.
Is Caroline on the line?
Calling
Sorry?
Caroline. Caroline. Line 2.
I mean, it
yes,
might
hello.
It might
Sorry, I'd muted myself. Yes, hello. Sorry.
Hello. I mean, it sort of might be the fact that we do a handover between things, or it might be that thing is because if you're live drawing, it would be great for that to evolve within what you're doing in a way.
Yeah.
Can you see the visual link I'm sort of grasping at there?
Yeah, I can see. So I'm looking at obviously the corridor behind them, and let me get a piece of paper.
I could see this being made with cutouts, and I did see things like I could see this in the pencil and silhouette thing we could play with while that was being read out. That's what I liked about it. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, the length was just like it could be shorter, but it didn't feel actually far for me. And like the way things could turn or move, like I know what you mean. I can see what you mean, Nina, about the way the shapes in this space and how the cities could become portraits and gaps and shadow and all this stuff with added color and that kind of thing. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think actually that's a good plan.
Yeah, so if the city were to take a sort of shape of a long avenue, but you wouldn't necessarily see the avenue factor of it. Initially, you'd get the silhouette and you'd get all the other things that were in the drawing, the moon and potentially washing lines or whatever, and then you would evolve that drawing so that where the shadows of buildings were or where the little window lights were, you'd then end up getting these sort of paneling ones on screen right there, and you'd end
Exactly.
up getting sort of
Yeah.
portraits.
I think that sounds like a good plan if I'm explaining myself correctly and if everyone's understanding Nina.
Yeah.
I can hear you, Ade, and Nina, and I can sort of almost visualize it, and it sounds really exciting. I think the big thing is making sure that Caroline knows what it is we're trying to draw, so that we can work out how that happened, so that when you think you understand, but you don't know you understand until we do it. So I sort of think it's something about. I don't know whether that's something that Nina and Caroline need to chat together to make happen, first of all, while we could do some cutting of the text.
Yeah. I mean, it would be quite good. I mean, Caroline, if you were to sort of have a little go at that, but sort of press record on your camera or something.
Yeah, I'm just sort of drawing now. Is this kind of so from Windows you could have washing lines, I suppose. Sorry, Paul, is it possible to get my the camera on my hand on the
I
screen?
wonder if Paul's with us at the moment. Hello.
Yeah, for now. Yes, please.
So, oops. There's still there we go. Let me try and move that. Oh, hang on. Just trying to get it in the right angle with my phone. So you mean something like that? So you've got. So this is the road here, and the moon is at the back. Oh, and you've got houses, doors, windows, and these washing lines are going. They had in the war or whatever, washing lines going across from one house to another.
Yeah.
Like little things hanging off them and. Stuff in the back, yeah.
And what position would Cassie have to do you think Cassie would have to be in by the fire for her to make sense in this perspective?
Well, I mean, it depends where the portrait would be, wouldn't it? I suppose. Eventually, I mean, are we sort of drawing out everybody else and then and then could she look across the corridor to a
Well, I mean,
portrait?
for the first scene where is the city background, and that what might become the first intro scene after we do our mushrooms, then she's just like outside doing the washing.
Yeah.
So where would that's the scene I mean in terms of where would she need to be for that? Because then we can move her to anywhere else for that last scene. We can just adjust positioning by then.
Yeah, I mean, it could
Am
go
I
either way,
asking?
couldn't it? I mean, it's wherever she wants to be, really, and then the image is sort of formed around that. I mean, that would sort of where she is now would sort of work in terms of. I mean, actually, what might be nice is if the washing lines vaguely linked to where branches were within the
Oh,
forest,
right,
and it sort of
okay.
evolves that way.
Mm.
And then, I don't know how it would work in terms of the nature of how that image is drawn. As to, I mean, I think with your pastels, you were able to evolve an image out of the previous image quite nicely, weren't you? Like you were
Yeah.
able to
Well,
draw in and draw over.
yeah, I mean, this is just obviously a rough idea so I can just get it in my head if this is what you want.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, it looks great.
I could do that. And I could do that with, charcoal. So I can use
Yeah,
charcoal instead of obviously this pen, and then and paint. So
yeah, and
I've
then
got some
elements
green.
can come in over the top.
Yeah, so I've got green paper because we wanted to do it on green, didn't we? So I've got green. I've painted some
So I was
paper.
going to suggest, Caroline, and this might not be useful, but you know where you've got the washing lines. If you were able to
Yeah.
do that, a bit of a rubbish idea. I'm just going to suggest it anyway. If you were able to put the lines up with like string or wool or something, like literally, instead of drawing the washing lines, it means that when we go into that picture becoming inside a gallery, you know, that gallery sort of feel, you'd just be able to take those away and you wouldn't have to draw over them. You could just take the washing lines down.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Let me grab some
And then also, I guess what that means is, what could also be nice in that context as well is if the buildings on the sides are still done like with a silhouette sort of basis, so like whatever black base and then like yellow squares cut out or whatever, or yellow outlines of windows or whatever, then that layer can easily be taken off and then replaced with like the frames or like portraits of different in the periphery that makes sense, or the perspective that makes sense. Am I explaining a clear idea?
Yeah, that makes sense. 'Cause that's what I was really confused about, how you go from the forest to the city. But if
Mm-hmm.
the city is it's not just drawn, it's like, yeah, and that would work, I
So
think.
if some of it is drawn, some of it is wool or string, and some of it is cut out. It means on the
Yes.
cutout bits, if you wanted to, you could just overlay with like a gold frame on the cutout bits. Is that what you mean?
Exactly. Yeah. So when it's like doing the city at the beginning, it can just be overlaid with like um squares of like imply windows or whatever, or to imply doors. And then when it comes back to that space at the beginning of Cassie's next section, that those can even be removed and then replaced with the gold overlay that you're talking about, that then implies the portraits and stuff in the gallery. And then maybe also even the flooring changes, and that's maybe also a cutout. I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah, but I like this makes sense, the cutout and stuff, the drawing things.
Yeah. So if I understand it correctly, You want me to just use black paper silhouette to cut to create the walls here, yeah,
Yeah.
and then string, obviously, and then string for the washing lines. But I initially start with charcoal drawing for the moon or whatever, and paint the moon
I
in.
think the charcoal beginning point is lovely because it takes us back to the smudgy kind of dirty thing, and it's a nice way of coming out of the forest.
Mm-hmm.
So I
And
can
then you
do
can layer
layers.
in more structural stuff.
Yeah, so I can do layers. I can sort of start with the scrubbing with the charcoal, and then then just like slide in the silhouettes, the silhouette of so slide in the town silhouette, the city silhouette, and then just add those washing lines.
And
Yeah.
then when we move from there into what is actually the King's Palace, you would only need to take away the washing lines, and you could leave the silhouettes, but they would need something then to put gold frame on. But the floor in between, instead of it then, if you could make another cutout that you could add in that had a similar flooring that we've just seen, like a black and white sort of one that has perspective on it, that would just fit in exactly. It would be really nice to have that put in so it really changes the picture.
Mm.
If that's too fussy, don't worry, but I just thought there's something about that really shifting us inside to a different space, which would be really nice, but within the same shaped frame.
Yeah.
Does that sound too fussy, Caroline?
No, it sounds fine. I mean, I can, that the geometric floor shape, I don't need to draw that by hand. I can just get a piece of printed kind of geometric thing and just cut it out to the exact shape and slide it in there. I don't need to.
Yeah.
It's getting the exact kind of proportions of that image that you've used. That's the thing.
Yeah.
For me to draw, because at the moment I'm kind of looking at it going,
Well, I mean, it feels like what you've got there, what you've just drawn, is a good is a good version of that. It doesn't. I guess the thing for Paul is that this wouldn't then become something that can have layers unless the layers are something that are pre-prepared and layered in by Paul at times. Because of positioning and scaling and stuff. Because if it's live drawn, you can't really do that, can you?
Oh yes, yeah.
It might be that there's on the piece of paper there's a sort of faint vanishing point that's already there, and that you know what that is, and if something else needs to be added by Paul, then that works to that vanishing point.
Okay.
The thing that it makes me think that I'm going to make a sentence. What we really liked about the gallery picture, if we were to use that, and I know we're doing a drawing version of it, what we really liked was the ability for Cassie, or the painting, Cassie or the painting to come up from there. Do you remember Cassie's hand came up and she climbed in? And with it being a drawing one, that stops being possible, doesn't it?
No, I don't think so. Ange.
No?
It's still a layering thing. I think
Can you
the
previz where
question
you're
is,
cutting?
Paul, you can background Cassie on this image, can't you? Like you can put Cassie behind this image, can't you?
There would probably need to be a sort of green thing laid in, wouldn't there? You
Yeah,
could
that's what we
pre-cut
did
a
last
green.
time.
Yeah, you could let it could be something that Caroline puts in. She puts in a green frame shape or something.
Okay. I see what you mean, Nina.
Because at the moment, and unless Paul doesn't know where the image is, and I presume you can't cut out a little hole and pre-visit before it kind of gets cued. Once you know where the drawing is, it's not possible to do that. So it'll probably be down to Caroline to create a shape that she can layer in, and then Cassie's behind that. So even if the floor piece that she's creating has some green in it or something.
Caroline,
Yeah.
can we please, yeah, get like a, I want to say like a cone shape, but with like soft corners. Is that helpful? Because it has to hide all of you, right, Cassie? Out of green
I am.
paper.
I'm so confused. Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
You said Nina has. You said that Caroline has to make something, a green shape that she can
Yeah,
place
so
on her
basically,
drawing to
once you've
hide.
drawn your picture, then in order for Cassie to pop through it, Caroline would have to layer in a piece of green card or something that makes that hole for Cassie.
Okay, so can we get like a large oval so it looks like a hole
Yeah. Where do you want the oval?
in the middle
In
of
the
the
bottom? In
street
the middle?
of your drawing in the oh
Okay, so
can you cut it out? Yeah, can you just cut out a sort of largish what size? I don't know.
so here in the middle.
Oh, it doesn't have to be it could be really small. It just needs to be small enough to be in the middle of your drawing, like on the road or in the middle of the hallway, the corridor. I'm not explaining myself properly. So you see the drawing you just did?
Yeah. So
That middle
kind of a
strip,
hole about
that would be,
here. Here.
but yeah, but maybe 3 times that size
Okay.
out of the green paper.
Yeah. I'm just going to give a rough.
Because you just need it to you need to be able to place it on that space to create the entry point for Cassie. Yes.
Or if you had green underneath it, you could just peel up the corner of the page.
Also an option.
Yeah. Yeah, it needs to be just a little spot rather than a piece of paper with a hole in it.
Caroline, we
green
need the
circles.
other bit.
That's
Yeah,
the
we just
one.
need that bit. Yeah.
That's it.
So I'm just gonna.
You might need to find her, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
There you go.
Oh,
Well, you were there nearly.
oh, oh.
Yeah.
How do I get out? Oh gosh, this is hard.
Yes.
And what we did before, Cassie, is you were on the floor and you put your hand up.
Yeah, that's what I did before. But I think it's easier when the hole. Can we try the hole a little bit further down?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe that will. Let's see. How did I do it before?
Do you want
I'm so happy no one can see me by now.
No, I've lost the plot, so I'm having to keep quiet.
I don't know what we did. How did we get it so your hand is coming through?
I don't know.
Yeah, look, I'm going to make it bigger there.
Somehow last time Cassie's hand popped up.
No. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And it was along the line of the floor tiles, so that we also couldn't quite see that. Yeah.
Got you.
So if we're in a drawing version of that, is there still a way of doing that, or is there no way of doing that?
No, that was the other thing.
Yeah.
Got you.
So when we had the line before, was she in front of it or behind it? Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's different. If we didn't see this being drawn, for instance, and it was already pre-prepared, we could have two exactly the same, and that would work it. But if we're watching it being drawn, then we can't see that happening. Yeah. Great. Okay, this is working.
I was going to say, because could another option be to just take the picture of the palace and just make it more like sketch-like?
Yeah, but it won't be as fun, will it?
Pardon?
So yeah, but it wouldn't be as fun, would it?
I mean, there is a way if we line up the camera sufficiently, there is a way that we could, and if Caroline's created some of these elements that she can assemble, you could start by drawing on the sky and all that sort of thing, and then layer in these elements, and then we sort of push towards a slightly sketched version of something that's actually pre-prepared. As long as the elements that Caroline's working with sort of match up.
I mean, we can sort of do that, can't we? With like, because you need to send Caroline the arm, so we're gonna have like a full screen of Caroline's page next time, and then at our next practice, if we like have a go with what the silhouettes that Caroline has created, maybe there's a way to also mark the work area or the table, so that Caroline knows exactly where to put the silhouettes every time, so that it will always match up with the like positioning and stuff, and we can check that alignment before we go.
Yeah, like a pre-show check.
Yeah.
Oh yeah!
Nice.
Oh gosh.
Can you put your arm up?
Oh yeah. Oh.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
So
That's
you will
awesome.
have to. That's really fantastic. But Cassie, you have to go really where your hand is. So yeah,
Oh, where am I going?
we'll
Oh,
find
gosh.
a way to do that. It might be the hole's got to be a little bit bigger.
Don't reach forward. Reach up. Don't reach forward.
Yeah, if she goes back a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, let me hide my bum. Oh god.
Don't kill me.
3
I mean,
seconds to get into.
interesting. It's like,
Caroline said
like-
no more for you.
it's that kind of thing. Almost like if I could open it up and she comes out. I don't know.
Yeah, that will be fantastic when we sort that out. Could you move the circle? Yeah, could we move the circle here again?
That's awesome, Paul. Thanks for working that out.
Could we move the circle a bit higher again? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Just so it's easier for Cassie. So Cassie,
Yes. Okay, let's try it.
I mean that I could potentially jump into the hole. That's great.
Yeah, probably.
yeah, let's try that.
Oh, shall I come out? Oh wait. Okay, let's try.
Yeah, for a second.
This is so
So Cassie,
Yeah.
could you put your hand down first? You got to move
I'm
more
trying
to the middle. I know.
I need to figure
yeah.
out up where it up.
Forward.
Up.
Yeah, up, not forward.
Yeah, if you
reach
move over a little bit, it's up, but you need to move over still a little bit more.
Okay. Oh my god.
Yeah, this is good. This is good, Cassie. Yeah.
No.
It's nearly. It's nearly.
Yeah. I do need a bigger hole than you, Paul.
This conversation is very inappropriate, guys.
I think also a hole.
we make Cassie small? Can we make Cassie small? Paul, can we make Cassie smaller? Because I think that's one of the things. If Cassie was smaller, I think it would be easier. Yeah.
But also, do we
Right,
need
let's
her?
go to the same hole then.
Do we need her
Cassie,
to come
try
all
again.
the way through the hole anyway? Ah.
Oh,
Ange, do we need Cathy to step out
Oh,
out of the hole then?
that way. Is she there?
Oh,
Who, me?
there's my mum.
I was talking to you, Ange.
Yeah. I
Do we
think.
need her to... Yeah.
Oh,
You see,
yes.
this is fantastic. I think that would be enough. I don't think you need to climb out. I think if you were doing that and I gave you the picture so that you were climbing out with the picture, I think we could end that there and then the book could close. That would be enough. That would do it.
Yeah,
It'd be
okay.
amazing.
How do we get back to... Do we need to go back to our Zoom chat?
Oh my gosh, I need to go sort my bra out.
What the fuck?
I almost
Oh my God.
It's all this exertion.
Is
Can
there
I
a
just say, I
way?
think-
Go on, Ange. Go on,
go.
Ange.
I was going to say, to me, there's something really exciting about this, but it's really quite complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
Just about the amount of time it's going to take us to make this setup work. Is it worth pursuing? Do we want to continue it and do all the setup that it's going to require? Or do we want to go, okay, this bit would be a work in progress?
I think we should go for it.
Okay.
The whole thing's a work in progress, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh,
I loved it, Caroline, when you when you had that thing where you had the circle closed and then you opened it. I loved
Yeah,
that.
well, I was just thinking that might be a way to solve this and make life a little bit easier. I mean, I could have something drawn on here that was folded, and then when I unfold it, she's, and it makes life easier for Cassie. It's kind of like whatever is drawn on here. So maybe whatever it is.
Yeah, but then we lose that thing of her appearing, which to me had that.
Okay.
I really love the hand coming up and coming out of the hole, which is the circle that you put on, but you had it closed.
Yeah.
And then you opened it to reveal Cassie coming up with her hand. I know we'll have to work out the.
Oh, there.
And
There, that's.
Cassie,
Oh, yeah,
Cassie,
perfect.
Cassie, I'm going to give this picture to Henry to give to you, so that next time when we meet, when you come up, you could put this up first, like this, with your hand. You come up, and then you can unruffle it to reveal it, and that's the picture that would go up.
Yeah.
To see if that works. Does that?
No,
No.
it's an original. Sorry.
This is a Caroline original. No, I was actually thinking so that Cassie could have this picture in her house rather than
Maybe we should
yeah.
though. How could we do that? Do you have an idea? Is that why you were going to say something?
Love a day. How do we do it? Get rid of it, and then I would.
Yeah, to pick it up.
Oh, so potentially, does that mean potentially Cassie could like throw it out of the hole first or something?
Oh, we might not even need the same picture then. It's
Yeah,
rolled up.
exactly. So yeah, so exactly. This is confusing, but I know the answer is in there. Okay, let me think about it and let's move on to something more useful because we don't need that to finish the scene. That's just me being I want a cherry on the cake.
How do I get my leg? How do I get my leg up? No, oh god. How do I get my leg over? No. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand how you get your leg over.
Because the layers are in front of each other, so you couldn't, Cassie.
Okay.
You're trapped. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is this a thing? Could Ange also be behind the holes that Cassie is behind?
Cassie, go to your right.
And then
Okay.
okay.
Left.
And then Ange, if you having a rolled up thing, because I'm thinking some sort of like accomplice scene where you're the first person that climbs out of the hole with the thing, or you throw it out and you climb up, and then Cassie climbs up after you and picks it off the ground, so that we have a thing of you being in the same scene and doing a thing swap. But does that seem does that seem like a plausible thing? Like you both come out of the hole, or does that get confusing character wise?
For me, I can't. I sort of go. I could see that visually, but another part of me goes, "It's not quite what the story is," or something, and slightly confuses
Yeah.
it. Because I think, from my mind, what the story is the washerwoman is basically the story is that they are not included, and so they include themselves. And if I come into it, I'm sort of the one who's doing it rather than the washerwoman doing it themselves.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. It will be in the corridor. It won't be in this scene. It won't be in the city scene. It will be in the corridor, the portrait scene.
I think what the plan is at the moment is to see this drawn scene, for it to be turned into, sort of transformed into that gallery type scene, but to be a drawn version, so that we never actually do it in the one that's pre-prepared, but this transforms into that. That's why the drawing has got this sort of shape, and that then things would be added in. So the washing lines would disappear, a floor piece would appear that would put us in there, and that frames would appear, and that from being in a city picture, Cassie would then appear within this gallery. I think that's the plan.
Yeah, yeah.
This is something that Nina and Ade have talked about with Caroline, about how the painting would transform in front of our eyes rather than it be a cut to. It would be an addition of cut out pieces and things like that. And then this spot would be put on top of it once that happened. As far as I understand. I think we need to try and focus so that we move forward. Stuff on. And look. Oh, it's come off the picture. That's why.
Oh,
Look,
really?
Me and.
Don't worry about that.
I'm just going to wash it.
That's not visible.
Okay, so for this scene, Cassie's just going to shorten her piece, and Caroline's going to prepare some silhouettes that can transform into, from the cityscape in the intro to the background of the King's Corridor for the closing scene. And then next time we're going to try and set up the visual so that we can line up the scenes to have the layering effect. Seems like a good conclusion of the scene?
Yeah. I'm going to invite you all to a cue list that is basically a bit like the script, but it's just sort of more sort of elemental of what things we think we need for each bit, and it's sort of more of a checklist, I suppose, and also to help Paul understand the flow of what needs to happen when, I suppose.
Great, thank you, Nina.
It's not complete, of course.
No, and I think it might be that we, me, Ade and Cassie, might need to simplify a little bit of the amount of stuff that we've got, and the amount of different cuts to different things. We might need to just go, actually, rather than visiting somewhere twice, we might just do it once. I don't know. I think we need to have a little bit of streamlining slightly.
Yeah, for sure.
Partly because we're trying to do quite a lot of different things, and then we're going to have to not only all that prep that's required for Paul, Nina and Caroline, but also for us to know whereabouts we are and to practice where we are, what we're doing, blah, 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 with all these quite a lot of different effects and changes. Oh, I like it much better when I can see people on the screen. It's good, isn't
It's
it?
really effective. You can tell that you guys have really got used to dialoguing with each other, and these 3 monitors are working well.
It looks fantastic. It does look like you're looking at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking down at Cassie. Oh, she's gone.
Oh, sorry, my TV's trying to turn itself off. There I am.
Hey.
Oh, Cassie, you need to look up more towards your camera. Oh, that's it. Look up towards your camera. No, the other way. A little bit
Towards
more.
the
No, the other way. Yeah. Where you were just then. More towards the camera.
Out front.
Oh no, more away from the
camera.
camera then. More,
Yeah.
That way.
No, more towards the camera.
Towards your left hand.
That's it. Yeah. Nearly.
Perfect.
Oh.
Oh boy. They're weird. You're so small.
I know, I'm tiny.
Should we talk
Happens when
about
you have mushrooms.
yeah? Should we talk about some of the other scenes, like A Day's Letter?
Yeah.
Because I think what I'll
Seriously.
probably have to do, and Caroline as well, is we'll have to do a bit of creation in between times. It's quite hard to kind of do all the creation on the fly now that things are sort of consolidating.
Yeah.
To do that thing in perspective, I'm gonna have to kind of have the image and maybe do some measuring.
Yeah.
So this is number 5 on the script thing.
Number 6.
And
Oh, did you
Day's
print it
Letter.
off? Did you
Yeah.
print it off? Okay. Yeah, it's number 6 on the online one, but number 5 for Ange. Yeah.
All right. A Day, you take over. I'm going to stop talking because I've got.
So this one, what were you going to say, Paul? This one definitely happens on a blank piece of paper as well, but we hadn't really settled on like exactly what was happening. The plan was for me to not be on screen actually, and then to be revealed telling the story once the window was mentioned. So what, I guess, where would I be coming from? What would we have just seen if the washerwoman is actually now near the beginning? That means this is coming after the locket improv, which means that we've maybe gone back to the fire first. So then we're coming from the fire to my letter scene. Okay, cool. So yeah, then oh, go on, Ange.
I was going to suggest if this was a point that we went back to the book, and that this was within a window of a book, because we haven't really used that since, have we? And that
No, not yet.
that this was within the book, within a window within the book, and this drawing happens within one of those windows.
Okay, I like that.
And that we are watching something being drawn, but we're just hearing your voice. And then make a sentence. Paul, last time we had this effect where you painted black and you revealed me. Do you remember that? So what we're thinking for this is we're thinking that something's being drawn, a window, say, is being drawn, and then the window pane gets coloured in and it reveals a day looking out of the window. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think so, yes. Can we work out that in reverse so that a day would be ready so that we'd know how to do that? Like where a day would need to be in order for that reveal to happen? Or do we do it already? Sorry, Paul, probably best if I hand over to you to tell Caroline how to do it and then we'll discover it. I'll opt out. Storybook with a big green part on the page. Yeah, yeah. She's illustrating, as if she's illustrating in the picture of the book.
Yeah.
And Caroline, I was sort of thinking the image for this would be like if I'm being revealed through the window telling the story, then maybe the angle I'm looking at or looking from is I'm able to watch the person who is like writing the letter as if I'm like watching the story unfold as I'm telling it.
Okay, so where will you be? I just kind of need to know where you're going to stand. And is it
Yeah, that's
so? Are you looking out sideways on an angle, or are you full frontal?
I think I'd be side. I think I'd be sort of like,
Yeah.
yeah. I think I'd sort of be looking like this way, as if like.
Okay.
Yeah. But we just need.
No.
I'm just going to step away really quickly. I'll be right back, okay?
okay. If you have can we just need a bigger, I think a bigger space. What do you think, Ange? Like a big rectangle would be great.
It's not.
Do you think we should zoom in, Ange, on the?
You see the picture on that left-hand side? If the whole of that was green rather than just that little picture, if the whole of that where
They're both too small, I think. Yeah. Okay, cool. That one on the left is good.
Right,
If
I
it
think
was,
it is. If you turn back a couple of pages,
The whole
yeah,
thing,
the whole
yeah.
thing. Yeah, that would work.
I like that there's two hands.
Yeah.
This almost feels like a show itself.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I could watch this all day.
It's
I have to
it's
say,
incredible. It really is incredible.
yeah.
Wow.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, that's great.
I'm so pleased you've joined us, Caroline. Just hearing you
I'm
talk
really,
about how incredible it reminds us, because we've been watching these things growing bit by bit, and you're just
Yeah.
going, wow, wow. And it's like, yeah, exactly.
it's amazing. It really is. But it's such an interesting kind of like next level, you know, because I think about the you know, the good old days of the projector. I do think about the overhead projector, and you know, it's kind of a like massive advance from it, but it's still got a similar kind of feel, you know, that I don't know.
There's something still quite analog about it.
Sorry, something quite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Paul, you asked a question about was anyone else going to be in it, and I said no. But I'm absolutely loving your hand doing things, because we'll be watching another hand. But I wondered, do you remember when we tried the last time and we had Cassie who was on the book, and her hand was coming up, looking up. I wonder if I or Cassie would be on the other page, watching it all happening. So you see that other picture, the second picture on the other page. Could I be in that? Could you pop me or Cassie in there to look at that? You take
Yes.
Caroline out, you take Caroline out of that frame. No, you.
I think I'd have to be made smaller for this scene as well, anyway, Paul, because of the size of the space. And if I'm going to be coming through the window, I'll probably have to be quite tiny. Oh, because it works on Zoom effect. Okay, yeah. So cool. And then you can like fix this setting to just be that for this scene. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could be here watching it all happening, drinking my coffee. I love
Bummer.
that. I love there, and I'll get into the picture.
Right. Is that going to be the final position? Brilliant. Thanks. I was just drawing some like lines so I could know where I'm kind of going.
And Paul, I'm sorry to say this, but could we lose Caroline's hand from my picture or not? Is that not possible? Great. I think it's just so that I can be watching it. There's something about me watching it which is really nice without it sort of,
No,
I don't think
so.
I don't think it is. It doesn't actually look the same from here for some reason.
No, it doesn't.
depends when it is.
Yeah, would you like me to paint green now? Is the day in position?
Ade, are you in position?
Let me just.
I'm just in my camera, but I don't know if I've so the drawing is. Are we just trying? Okay.
Yeah, so can you paint green in there?
Yeah, yeah.
That looks great. Probably just
That
within the
looks-
panes of the window, though, I guess.
Yeah, in the paint. If
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Obviously, I went a little bit mad.
Oh, it looks great.
I mean, it's quite nice. It's like that thing when somebody's actually, there's condensation and somebody's wiping away the condensation.
yeah, it's a lovely thing. But you had those like lines for the frames.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Next time, could you leave those frame bits in?
Yeah, yeah. I'll do another one now if you want.
It's really fab. Yes, please. This is a really nice. It's lovely watching the window being painted and then to see someone arriving at it. It's got a really lovely.
Well,
Yeah, I think
I
it's
just
great.
want to check in. I just want to check in because in my head I was imagining sort of like a kind of whole scene being painted as opposed to just the window. So I don't know what that means for sizing and what we should like accommodate for then. I think it doesn't have to zoom in. Like it can just be smaller.
What do you
But
want?
I don't know.
Do you mean like drawing a house and the window is only a small part of it? Is that what you mean? Or
Not even like a house, like someone like maybe just like at a desk, and like the window is like beside them or something, like in a context of how they might be writing a letter. You know how Julie Mack
So-
drew that scene, her with the hind beans out of the felt tip pen, really quickly.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
I'm just wondering whether I could be writing a letter in this square. So you appear at the window there, but I'm writing the letter here.
Okay.
So I'm doing it live rather than it be a drawing of somebody writing a letter.
Okay. So does that mean we need to give you a context? Do you need to be like, how much do we need to fit into your little window that we've just given you?
I can't seem to answer that. I think I'm suggesting it a day, and it might not be right for you. That might not be what you intended.
No, I think we're creating it as we're speaking, and obviously so many ideas in my brain, like easy to move through them. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, what feels like it'll be most effective.
Is there a world in which we get the window effect, but there's a drawing behind as well? So you see the window and you wipe away the window bit panes, but then somehow, yeah, there's a scene that then can be on another layer behind.
Yeah, like maybe the scene through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up for seeing if that works.
Yeah. So what's the scene?
So that's
What's the
what would
scene?
be behind, whatever is behind a day. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and that would be pre-drawn, I guess.
Whatever's behind
Could-
me. No. It would be, I think what it would be, at least in my mind, Caroline drawing the frame like you just drew. I don't know,
Yeah.
have you seen the section that we're in, Caroline?
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't
Ah,
had a copy
okay.
of
Let me,
Next.
Today, could you read it out so that we all hear it?
yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. I was quite young when I met her. She in the middle of the I was writing to my grandmother. Nearly at 4. I was yay tall, feeling real small, looking out my window as the tears fell. Great, now the paper's wet. How can she read it if the paper tears? She perched beside me and didn't say too much. Not that I needed such. There wasn't much to say anyway. It was too expensive to unstuck my throat, seeing as I was going to be on my own. So we sat in silence together, saline and lead diluting the dread. She hung around all evening and must have left after I headed to bed. By the time the moon had faded into the day, she was gone.
When I hear that a day, I feel like you're talking about yourself. And so I feel like I'm wrong in the picture.
Okay.
Could you say who it is you are as you're speaking it and who you're talking about, just so that I understand it a bit more? I've lost where I've put the text.
I was quite young when I met her. Yeah, so it's from a first person perspective. Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
her is the crow, I guess.
Okay. So then carry on. So I was quite young when I met her. That's the crow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She showed up in a letter I was writing to my grandmother. It was nearly nightfall. I was yay tall, feeling real small. Looking out of my window as the tears fell. Great, now the paper's wet. How can she read it if the paper tears? Oh, okay, I see what's happened. Because I've got both the pronouns. Okay. That's where it gets confusing, I guess. How can she read it if the paper tears? That's referring to my grandmother, but then she perched beside me and didn't say too much, referring to the crow.
So it's that you are not looking out the window, are you? You're the child.
I am. But I am looking out the window.
Okay. I think I still can't quite get the image right, and I've lost my text, so I'm going crazy.
Okay.
Could we read it again? I'm so sorry.
Sure. Good practice. I was quite young when I met her. She showed up in the middle of a letter I was writing to my grandmother. It was nearly nightfall. I was yay tall, feeling real small, looking out my window as the tears fell. Great. Now the paper's wet. How's Grandma going to read it if the paper tears? She perched beside me and didn't say too much. Not that I needed such. There wasn't much to say anyway. It was too expensive to unstuck my throat, seeing as I was going to be on my own anyway. So we sat in silence together, saline and lead diluting the dread. She hung around all evening and must have left after I headed to bed. By the time the moon had faded into the day, she was gone.
Okay, so this is what I'm hearing, and tell me if I'm wrong. The image that I think, because this is you as a younger person writing a letter to your grandma. You look out of the window, you cry at the letter smudges slightly, and it's just you and the crow. And I wonder then that, for me, I think it's really fine not to see anything else except in the big picture, except the window. And I really like the crow appearing. But I also wonder if in the picture where I am, that somebody, and it might be Cassie's hand, that is writing a letter.
Mm-hmm.
So that you see writing, or you see something, so that on here, what you're getting is writing coming down, rather than me sitting here watching the story.
Or could it be the crow that's perched in that lower window?
The crow could definitely be within this picture. You could put the crow in here. Yeah.
I think there is something about the letter as well, seeing the letter, because there's quite a lot going on. So there's the grandmother that's not well. Like there's a lot of images. So I think it would be quite useful to see the writing.
So
and to have,
and to what? Sorry, Cassie.
No, I was just going to say, and to somehow have the crow there. So
my feeling is, in the big picture, that is just you, the window being drawn, a day being revealed within the window, and possibly the crow as well. And in this second frame, if we could get Cassie's hand writing a letter, but it could be Dear Grandma, and it could just be the text of this story that you're writing. Is that possible? Or even a good idea?
Do you know what? It sounds good.
Sorry,
I
think it sounds good. Yeah.
Packages.
Can you hear me? Oh, sorry.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my laptop just turned off. Everything went off, so just turn it back on.
Oh, right. Welcome back.
Sorry, you must have been talking to.
Sorry, Ade, do you want me to repeat what I suggested then?
Yes, please.
Is she gone?
I'm here. Yes, please.
So, I thought what we might try, Ade, and see if this works within that text, which is still in the big frame, that Caroline draws the window and then reveals you, and then puts the crow onto the picture. And in the smaller frame, we're going to watch Cassie's hand writing a letter.
Okay. Cool.
Well,
That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
So
pre-recorded is fine. I think the more we can have that is
I
pre-recorded,
agree.
but even if it looks live, you know, it helps, doesn't it?
I agree. I think that would be. I think with some things it'd be really helpful to have some things which are live and some things which are pre-recorded.
Mm.
Well, we just need a day to give a guide voiceover, I suppose. Or just it can be abstracted though, can't it? It can be doesn't have to be timed because a day
No.
doesn't give the text of the letter.
Because we could start the writing of the letter beforehand. That could just be the first thing that you see, and then the window starts being drawn.
That's nice.
So we're not drawing.
So
We're not drawing anything in the window anymore.
no, we will have you being revealed in the window.
But there's no scene like inside of the window, like drawn.
I,
I'm not sure 2 layers of drawing is possible at this point. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, personally, I think it sounds because what you wrote was really beautiful. In fact, all the writing that I've heard today, I've thought was really beautiful. And I think there's something really interesting about simplicity and,
yeah,
you know, people just focusing on one thing without too much going on. Because I think
Okay.
you then looking down at that handwriting, because, you know, where you are in the window, you're looking down and the hand is writing. I think it's really powerful. I mean, I did think it would be quite good, and I know it's probably not going to be possible, but to, like, you know, to have a crow land on that little box at the top. But I know that's
Yeah.
not, you know, but you
Yeah,
know, but it's
it
like
could be nice.
it yeah, it
But
feels like the
pre-recorded
crow should
maybe.
kind of, yeah, it feels like the crow should come in and land, because the crow is also, it's a separate entity to this box, to the little box, and then the
Yeah.
crow sort of is there, in its own right, you know, and it feels like it should have kind of movement, you know. So maybe that's how you incorporate something, you know, the fiery kind of movement, this crow
Yeah.
sort of landing on the top of that little box where the hand is writing, because then it's
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
down at that, and you are in the big box observing both of them. I don't know.
And that makes
Do you
sense
put
of
out
the
there? Oh, sorry. Go on.
yeah. I was going to say it makes sense of the she visited, because then you realise that it's the crow. And also I mean, there could also be a sort of smudge on the letter as well, like that could be iterated, but it also could be left unspoken or unvisualized.
yeah.
Caroline, can you do a cutout of a small crow just for next time? Just even if we can see if it has a close enough effects, just by you sliding it on top of it with paper, if it's possible.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
also you
Yes.
do it, Paul.
you could, Paul.
I've got the crow's head, Paul. I've got the crow's head here. Shall I just make a still of it just for now? And just because I was thinking about only animating the wings and using Caroline's head, so that there's a sort of flutter that we can create with those wings that's kind of slightly gestural. And then, so if I just give you something that does that, I'll just make that just now. Yeah.
Was that? Yeah. I mean, that's what I meant. It was like a digital thing.
Yeah, so it'll be
I don't know.
paper in quality of the head, digital in quality of the feathers, but looking like the painted fire. But a digital layer all in all. Yeah, or an alpha movie sort of thing.
And so then, in fact, when I think, in terms of the letter, then actually, what we could do a day is we can film your hand writing a letter.
Yeah.
It can be your hand that could then be writing the letter that we then put in there. Or if that's already the setup that Caroline has, we could just get Caroline to do it and then put that in there.
Yeah. I don't mind whose hand it is, to be honest. I got tattoos on my hand, so they wouldn't be so young, but but yeah, either way, whatever's easiest.
Caroline, because you have that set up, if at the end of this we could get you to film yourself writing a letter, but you could just write this text out of this thing. You just write "Dear Grandma" and then just write the text of the story.
Yeah.
I think that would be fine.
Yeah. I think it's lovely. I think it's a really nice, because you've got everything is connected, but you have these three sort of different layers. I think it's lovely.
I love the idea of the crow landing on the page of the book as well. I think that's really nice. An extra layer.
It gives it some sort of movement, you know.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
You can sit quite happily on one of those frames and the edge of one of those.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. It just feels like, you know, and then you're opposite each other. You're looking down at this box and the crow perched on top of the box, and the crow is kind of observing the writing and you know, in opposition.
I mean, and Paul, if you feel like doing some extra work because we haven't given you enough, I might try and perch on the edge of my box.
That's nice.
I don't know. I think because I have like high stuff, so I could make it look like I was just sitting, just one little side. But I'm not visible. I'm behind. Okay.
Would you like me just to do the window now, quickly? A quick window?
Yes, please. Let me in.
Oh, bit weird. Sorry, my camera's in a funny position. Oh, bloody hell. Sorry, it's the way it's... Yeah, I do. So I'm thinking I'm drawing it nice and straight, but where the camera is, it's a bit of a nightmare. Okay, not the most beautiful window frame, but hey.
Well, at least we got windows.
I mean, this is great for practice, Caroline. Just to say, I really loved you drawing the frame first and the sort of slight perspective on it before you did the cross on it.
Yeah, I'll do it round that way. I'll just kind of try.
It's joyous.
Oh, that's amazing. It looks so good.
It's exactly what you said, Caroline. It's a little bit like,
Yeah, it's that condensation, removing the condensation from the window.
Or working the condensation off. Yeah.
Would you let me in? Oh, yeah, true. Hold on.
Yeah. And I think we'd be watching this as the text is happening, as you're saying the text today.
Okay. That means I can't perch. That's okay.
I mean, you could be looking at that. Let me try and move this to make it easier for you. Oops. Bloody thing.
So Ade, can you look down slightly? Yeah.
Oh, that looks great.
That looks really good. That looks like if we saw a hand. So if this was bigger and this was a hand, and you'd see some writing coming down. Wonderful.
If you, I was going to say, if you wanted to put my, you know, you removed me from that corner box. If you could put me back in, then I can actually write. That small box.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can. So then at least they could see what it maybe looks like. Sorry, Paul. 100 million things.
Yes. Caroline,
Yeah.
if you could write the letter, "Dear Grandma." Yes.
Oh, that looks really good.
This is it. This is lovely. So I think we probably would want to do a video of it. Yeah. Partly because I think if we had the video of it, it means that, mind you, yeah.
I think that's okay because it's not, you know, it's the window is a different entity to the paper, but there's also a bit of grading that can happen. There might be some pre-show checks we need to write a list of at this point.
I think the benefit of having this video, the writing videoed, is that could start the whole thing and could just be running through, and then the window is on and a day is revealed, so that the speaking could be happening. Otherwise, we'd have to wait for all of the window to be drawn and a day be revealed before Caroline could write.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. It's just it would sort of be a much slower thing. I don't know what people think about that.
I think what you're saying makes sense, Angela. It's hard because I think there's something really nice about like everything looking the same. And I think if you pre-recorded it, it might just look a bit different aesthetically. But I don't really see a way around timing-wise without
Exactly.
Nina doing both. Not Nina, sorry, Caroline.
The only thing is, I'm watching the drawing happening. Would you really want to see another hand writing while you're watching this drawing happening?
That's a good point.
Because that's what I'm saying about things just like, sorry, there's something that's so satisfying about seeing things unravel, you know, that I think
that's true.
I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
What we're talking about, really.
Do you know what? I think effectively on any other day, if we had more time, it's fine to have Caroline do both because the window being drawn is one thing, then the writing is another thing. And I think that happening in a certain order is okay. It gives us some stages for what is quite a still image anyway. But I think for the sake of convenience and the fact that we are doing quite a few complex things, it seems, with lots of other scenes, I think we should just record it for now and know that we can do it this way if we want to. But I would say that we wouldn't cue it to start immediately anyway. Like maybe we would cue the video to start when I'd been revealed or something, even if it was just the still of the video until that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I
And
think
Paul, I've
that's
just
right.
sent you Sorry, I was just going to say, I've just sent you a still image of a crow. It's very rough. But it's on the Dropbox and also on your email. It will need, I need to work out, yeah. I just need to work out how I want to make him animate and all that. I just got to practice getting the shape right.
And I can do a load more crow head silhouettes for you, you know, and just send you photos
Great.
of them, because that one was a bit scrappy and quick, but I can, you know.
No, that's okay. Yeah, it's good. I mean, yeah, it'd be good. What I'll do is I'll write a list of all the things it wants to do, and then go, well, it might be good one to have one with his beak open or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, you know, one. Equally, I can just add little elements. Like if you wanted to draw an eye, I could put I can animate his head anyway, and I can open his beak with what you've given me anyway.
Cool.
But yeah, let's have a think about it. I just have to work out how I'm going to make him fly. And I think if I keep it gestural, I think it won't be a too difficult task.
Oh, that looks so great.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That looks amazing.
It really suits the background. Like,
yes, yeah, there you go.
Image. It's so funny because I feel like we're all just like, oh, what about this? How about this? And then you guys just have a conversation in tech translation. You're like, yeah, we're going to have to do this, this, and this. You're like, sweet. Love that you understood that.
I love it.
It's great. It's lovely because, yeah, again, it's that relationship between the two of you.
Ade, could I ask you just to read that text now? And Caroline, you just pretend to write, just so that we could hear it, because it's quite brief. It's just I'd like to hear it with that as an image, and whether we build the image up first and then we watch the handwriting as you're looking through, because I have a feeling that we want to see the visual first. Yeah.
Just getting it up. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was quite young when I met her. She showed up in the middle of a letter I was writing to my grandmother. It was nearly nightfall. I was yay tall, feeling real small, looking out my window as the tears fell. Great. Now the paper's wet. How can Grandma read it if the paper tears? She perched beside me and didn't say too much. Not that I needed such. There wasn't much to say anyway. It was too expensive to unstuff my throat, seeing as I was going to be on my own anyway. So we sat in silence together, sailing and led dilute in the dread. She hung around all evening and must have left after I headed to bed. By the time the moon had faded into the day, she was gone.
As a thing, I think that's going to be fantastic. I do think that we'd want to set up the whole image of the window first and then have the writing happen afterwards.
Yeah.
And that we hear all of that text. The other thing is, I can't hear you that clearly, Ade, and I don't know whether it's your microphone or whether once you know it, it will be clearer. It's just I couldn't hear some of the detail of the language.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely need to just get my mouth around it, and also probably slow it down.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah.
More distorted.
Okay. Okay.
Paul, you might need to give us some feedback on that. It might be that I'm speaking really loudly. It's partly because I'm a little bit deaf, so I speak really loud. So if I'm too loud, I could turn myself down a bit. I'm the same. I can hear.
So we need to turn this one down.
It's probably me.
Turn the volume on this.
Yeah, it's weird. I could hear it the whole time, but hey ho.
Obviously, only until the point where you can still.
I'm wondering whether that's helped at all.
The monitor,
Yes.
turning the monitor.
I can't hear it anymore.
No, I can't hear myself speaking again anymore.
Yeah, I can't hear you echo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On both.
Ah, that's probably what it is.
We only have it.
Oh, okay.
No.
That looks so good.
Yeah.
Oh, Ange, can you just stand underneath that crow a little bit more so you can see what this sort of crow on your head thing might? Just imagine what. It looked like it's
Maybe we
carrying.
should try getting the paper crow, the head, and see what happens when Angela has that. We could make a really large one as well.
Mm.
Do you mean me doing the green
Or
screen
even
thing on my
in
head?
a day. In fact, it might have to be a day
So
because they're in the right.
Yeah, Angela.
There you got it. You
Oh,
got
yeah.
it. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, Angela,
What
you
does
can
that
get this.
I think someone has to put Ange behind that. Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
you can't really see the whole. You can't see the whole.
Yeah, it's a scale
I-
thing a little bit, isn't it? We need a small
Yes,
head if
scale.
she's
Yeah.
that small.
You can't really. Yeah. Oh, okay, Ange. Put your hood down. Oh, go down again. Kneel down. What you're doing. Yeah, there. Have to be a little bit smaller, obviously, but. Oh, that's good.
Did you take a quick picture so I can see what that looks like on the screen?
Yes, hang on. Can someone take a screenshot as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
But take a photo anyway. It's hard.
Put your hands up, Ange.
Is that good? Is that good? Put your hands up. Because I can't see anything. I can't tell where they should be.
I'm trying to move the head. Hang on.
I've taken one.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're doing good. Yes. try what? I think we're. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think I'm good. Yeah.
It's quite nice, actually. I was thinking of not having the paint completely, having this sort of like the condensation thing going.
Yeah. No, that was lovely, Caroline. That looked really great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brill. Okay, fab. Obviously, yeah.
So I think
yeah, yeah. Obviously, I planned that. Yeah.
in terms of that scene, I think that's a really great. I think those three things are really great. We'll need to organise filming the writing, just so that we have that as an option.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So I've lost my script. I do not know what.
Okay. Oh.
Oh.
Ooh. Hmm. I mean, yeah, it would be quite. I mean, if we can use that style that's already in the book to create the lockets, then that works, right? Then we have one more less thing. Yeah. Cool. It's nice that that's in there already. Cool. Oh boy. So what's next? That's all right. So fun. Such a fun effect.
So there's two things that we haven't explored at all yet. One is a day's yam story, and the other one is this reef crow, which is sort of the possibility of what we've just vaguely looked at with this head on human body. My brain has just fried. I'm wondering if we could just
Do we need to
break
have a
for
little
5
break?
minutes. Yeah. I just want to go and get some. I think I'm probably going to have to finish around that time. I think probably Henry
Yeah, me
does
too.
as well. But maybe if we could just break for 5 minutes and then come back, and then we'll have half an hour to try one more thing, maybe. Yeah. Recap. Yeah. 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 Great. That sounds brilliant. Thank you. Okay,
5 minute break. 5 minute break.
Where are these dots coming from now?
Well, they're the ring holes.
Oh, they're ring holes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's just because of the height of this.
Hello.
Yeah. Is that Nina?
Oh no, it's Cassie.
I'm here
Cassie.
too.
Nina, I have a question.
Yeah.
And it's something about, I tried to think of this when I went for a walk and couldn't quite get the sentence together, but it's something about feeling like wanting to take another step in this, like either next bit or we've got two more pieces that we might or might not use. And
Yeah.
my feeling is wanting to bring in a bit more of your video work, having got to this point, to sort of move one further on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. In particular relationship to which story do you think?
So we've got two more things that we're going to try. They might get cut because we can't do too many things. But at the moment, the next piece is about a yam, and it's actually in the first person as a yam, so it's quite wacky.
Yeah.
And the last piece is the crow speaking, which is where I sort of thought might be with that head thing on the crow's head. And I imagine that if that's the case, it would be great to have like a sky behind, almost as if I'm the crow in the sky, if that makes sense. But sort of ordinary, like a filmed sky or something behind.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I don't know whether we could make, I know it's a cutout head, but I don't know whether we could make it blink or anything so that it...
Oh, that's easy. Yeah, that's easy.
So that it could be alive. It's sort of wanting to take us to a slightly, just one more step on in terms of we're in drawing and cutout land with some video effects, but then it's sort of almost reversing the emphasis so that the video effect is the emphasis and the cut on might be that. That makes sense.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah, no, I think that would be good. And I guess, Caroline, what might be fun is for us to create a little series of heads and blinks so that the crow could sort of look left and right, and have mouth open and not, well, beak open and not, yeah, that sort of thing. So, and some blinks and stuff. We could do that.
Is that something that you and Caroline can make happen between you?
Yeah.
It would go over my head, my green screen head.
Yeah, I reckon that's totally possible. Yeah. I'll just get a few. I mean, with the head that I've already got from Caroline, let me just do a little blink anyway, because it's really easy to do that. Caroline,
Sorry, yeah.
hi love. Paul, if I'm giving you an Alpha Channel movie, what codec would you prefer it at? ProRes or something? Oh yeah, that's true, because my file was in Alpha Channel, wasn't it? Or did you live key that? Because I can obviously give it to you with green on the background if it's easier on the server. I have a look in the library, the content library? Well, if it's a MOV, it'll be ProRes, I think. Okay, cool. I'll just render you a little quick MOV then. Yeah, okay, great. I know which one it is then. Remember that.
You're doing great. Doing great. Thank you all so much.
It's
This is such
Exactly.
stuff. So
Everyone,
cool.
hang on in there.
Everyone I'm telling this about is just like, you're doing what? That sounds
Okay, so I'm just there's a very, very quick crow blink that's uploading to Dropbox. It'll be there in about 2 seconds. It says 1 second.
Oh.
It's really subtle, but I think let's just so we're looking at a scene with Angela with a crow's head on, aren't we? So
Yeah.
it'll be sort of something like that. I mean, I can give you some clouds as well. I'll chuck some clouds there.
Oh, I forgot Catherine was in the thing. That's funny. Totally forgot about that.
Okay, won't belong with the clouds.
Cassie, you're just going for it, huh? Brutal cuts.
Ah, so funny.
We might need to sort of scale these slightly when you get them, these clouds, because they'll have a little bit of bottom in them, but we can look at that anyway. I'll just give it all to you anyway. So and so it would be a scene with Angela with a sort of green hood, right? And would you? I mean, I guess I don't know what your physicality would be at that point.
I think the thing is I haven't a clue because I can't find the
done it.
text. And B, we haven't talked about this before.
Do someone want to read the text who has it in front of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, I can read it. Yeah. Ange has been wanting a crow on her head the whole time though, since we started this project. So I'm really
She's
glad.
been very patient.
I am the grief crow. I am beautiful. To some, I am terrifying. To those who need me, I am yours. I am a crow who visits when I am called. When someone is grieving and their pain is raw, I sit with you. I sing. You hear whatever you need to hear. A song, a poem, a message of love, a violent protest, a raw scream of pain. My claws are much longer than you would expect. Sometimes we need to hold on tight. I love my claws. My beak is sharp. Occasionally I attack. I am a wild animal. I am not here to tame. Grief is a wild thing.
Nice.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Even though there's no crow on your head, Ange, it was really weird to read that and watch you with no head.
So Paul, that file's uploading now, just this sort of cloud thing.
When I was hearing that,
I
I
thought
don't
brilliant
really
work.
know what, but I'm going to try and say it somehow anyway. I imagine seeing the crow with sky behind it, but then I imagined gradually the forest sort of arriving and somehow us going back to that forest picture.
Yeah, that's nice.
Or if that's possible, do you think that's possible?
Yeah, it'll be possible one way or another. Yeah, I think if we've got these layers of the forest,
Oh wow!
we can.
That's so cool.
I've lost my browser window now.
Oh my gosh, it's blinking.
It's so cool. It does a little intermittent blink.
I love it.
I've got one where I've separated out the beak of it.
I haven't seen the blink yet. Does it happen?
Oh,
Maybe it's not
it happened.
looping.
I saw it.
I think it needs to loop, Paul. I think. There it is.
Yeah.
Are you, Ange? Is the head of the crow the only thing that's a crow about you?
Deep question.
I think in this iteration, probably yes.
Okay.
I think I did wonder about hands and whether we wanted to put some claws on my hands, but I think the reason why I thought yes is otherwise there's no reason for it to be a human. We could have like a crow, but there's something about, I think that somewhere, and I don't know if I can make this right, there's something to do with feeling like the crow could then be sitting round the fire with the two of you at the end, so that the picture has gone from the three of us sitting around the fire to two people plus the crow sitting around the fire, as if that's the story has somehow done that.
So you're sort of reconciled to the present.
I love it.
Oh, I wonder whether I gave you a. Oh, hang on. Yeah, sorry. I'll do you. Sorry, I'll do you another quick one. It'll be really quick. Do you want me to overwrite it, or do you want me to put a version 2 in? Okay.
Come on, babe.
The sky's in the same library, and it's a slightly different codec. So see whether you can cope with it. it may or may not cope with that codec.
Could you do
Oh yeah, it's
the,
on its way.
to sit on?
Ange, what do
Yeah.
we need to explain why you are not there anymore? Do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if this is even going to work. There's a it goes. I might just have turned into a crow, or I suppose I don't know yet.
To step forward.
Say that again. I needed to move forward, is what you're saying.
Yes.
So I think what I was asking a day is, you know, when you asked, would it just be my body? I mean, would there be any other part? And I think I'm asking, do you think that would be helpful? Or do you think me being like this is enough if I've got a crow's head, but I'm like this?
And you're reading out the thing about the crow?
I could memorize it, yeah.
I'm just trying to think how. I'm just trying to think. Because if you're sort of still,
Yeah.
then are you like still like in a tree, or are you? Is it like an abstract stillness where you're sort of just like human crow, but in general sky?
So there's going to be sky behind me. I mean, I could.
Yeah. Tai Chi time.
Yeah, shall I do this? Let's see what that looks like with the crow's head on. Whether that just looks too rubbish.
You got the Alpha Channel Crow now.
It might work with the sky. Oh.
I'll check what codec I've got on the old Fire, and if necessary, I'll give it all to you on green screen. It's all fine as well.
I feel like the thought of me doing this rubbish flying.
I think if you take yourself very seriously, it can work.
Let's see what the sky is like. And
oh, you know what? The Fire I put in a transfer mode. I think I put it in a transfer mode. Oh no, it does have an Alpha channel.
Oh, there's two bits showing, and I think it's because this has come forward.
No, but this is.
It's not white.
It's really good.
It.
It's really good. Yeah, better than putting it underneath.
No, I'm just looking at the.
Okay, great.
Bring it in.
Yeah. Else. Yeah, we have lost minimal. I can't put it anymore. Yeah.